You would say the storm came, that you would be there with your umbrella to blossom rain. If you said you protect me, you would say the storm came, that you would be there with your umbrella to blossom rain. If you said you protect me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Toney Ford. I give an honor to God, who is the head of my life, and to the American people, who are at the forefront of my heart. In the previous address to you, I began the process of introducing both myself as well as my vision for this great nation. Continuing along this path, I would now mention that related to concerns regarding jobs and finances, Americans have also begun calling for reform of the current business and commercial climate. As I come before you today, the rancor grows louder and louder. This is a topic that many Americans have not only begun discussing among themselves, but would like nothing better than the opportunity to aggrieve this matter with their elected officials. Notwithstanding this, many of your concerns seem to be falling on deaf ears. What Americans are finding, indeed have found, is that their elected representatives are in both action and deed agents of other special interests. My response to this is, as Joan Rivers would say, can we talk? In a little over a year, this nation will return to the polls and elect, among other government offices, the next President of the United States. In light of the current state of affairs, what America needs most is bold leadership. Consistent with this, I have announced my candidacy for the presidency of the United States. Again, this is not just any election. The stakes are absolutely too high. America's and your financial future hangs in the balance. The time for action is now. No longer can American citizens sit idly by. It behooves each of us to align ourselves with candidates and campaigns representing our vital interests. As for the Party of Common Sense, the Committee to Elect Ford 2012, and myself, the following business platform is part of our collective vision for returning the American dream to an ideal reasonably obtainable for all. To begin with, my business platform has four primary objectives, among others. First is reform of how big business and corporate entities conduct their affairs. Next is a review and expansion of our small business base to extend entrepreneurial opportunities to average Americans. Related to this are reforms of the banking industry. Similarly, mechanisms are in place for reform in the insurance industry. Although a number of strategies will be deployed, four will assume early prominence. First, companies maintaining minimum levels of employees for 8 consecutive quarters will receive tax credits. These credits are renewable annually, providing that minimum levels of employment are maintained. Conversely, companies transferring their operations overseas will pay twice the tax rate as those domestically based. On another front, domestic-based companies will be eligible for research and development grants, low-interest loans and subsidies, etc. Companies based overseas will only be eligible for research and development loans. No longer will quote-unquote trader companies receive similar accommodations and support as quote-unquote lawyer companies. These companies can do what they feel are in their best interests, and the American people will do likewise. Regarding the smaller business sector, my administration will be committed to ensuring that entrepreneurial opportunities are available to historically disadvantaged groups, in addition to those afforded to traditional or otherwise majority contractors. Among the primary focal points will include enhanced efforts to extend SBA loans and grants to disadvantaged groups, as well as expanded minority business enterprise and women business enterprise set-aside opportunities, and expanded tax credits and grants to disadvantaged groups. More importantly, my administration will also pursue aggressive reform of both the banking and insurance industries respectively. These two entities, more so than perhaps any others, have succeeded in placing the American economy in such a bottleneck that their actions have succeeded in placing the American way of life as we know it in jeopardy, albeit to the advantage of a select few. Under my administration, this will change, and change quite swiftly. Within my first 100 days in office, we will pursue an aggressive executive branch agenda not seen since the early days of the Reagan administration. As for banking reform, we will move immediately in favor of truth in banking legislation. Similarly, we will aggressively pursue truth in lending reform. Related to this will be immediate enactment of usury caps to protect the American public from continued exploitation by way of prohibitive and otherwise outrageous interest rates. My administration will also usher in a period of enhanced transparency of the banking industry, highlighted by increased regulation and oversight. Without becoming redundant, I will simply note that analogous reforms will also be reserved for the insurance industry. Thank you, God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.
Vote for 2012 for a return to the American dream and prosperity for all rather than a select few.
For 2012, committed to working to solve the nation's as well as the world's problems. Will you join with us?
You say the storm came, that you would be there with trouble, words, black and rain. And you said you protect me from heartache, pain, lies, loneliness, and misery. You said you tear down the wall. To volunteer, contact either Deborah Curry at 708-259-6308 and Martine Ford at 614-749-8373. Andrea Ford at 312-890-1357. L. Celeste Tyner at 765-243-0801. To donate, contact Latoya Ford at 319-883-2802 or Vanessa Kincaid at 708-341-3616. Committee to elect for 2012.